The reproduction of this content is not allowed without the express written consent of EBH Fitness, LLC. We're back.
All right, everyone, welcome to the Week 4 wrap-up show. Joined here by my co-host Kenny Davis. I'm Steve Howard. Let's just jump right into it. We went over our top 10. Let's kind of get to the results and kind of break down some of these games. Let's start at the bottom and work our way up. So 10-1. So first up, we got Hanks versus Austin. Let's just start with what I think is kind of probably one of the biggest upsets of the day in the top 10 when you look at it. Hanks came in at 3-0, lost to a Austin team that was 1-3. You called this upset 20-19.
Austin historically has been a very tough football team. They run the ball very well. They do what they do, and everybody knows that there's no secret as to what they're going to do. And so you have to be ready. You have to bring your lunchbox. It's an all-day affair. It's a tough football game. And so you kind of knew that going in. And what is surprising, they jumped out to a 20-6 lead. And it was Hanks who had to, go to the air and, air raid style trying to come back. And they came up just short, 2019.
So kudos to Austin for getting their first win of the season, moving up to 1-3 now.
They've got, real quick before we move on to the next one, young man Sal Duarte, young Sal. He's that freshman phenom. I would not be surprised, you heard it here first, that that guy comes up on the varsity probably around district game time. He is one of the fastest kids in this city. Not just at his grade level, goes without saying, yes, freshman, but he's one of probably the top 5 fastest people in this city, period, running 11.3, 11.2 in 100. So, and he's a freshman.
Nice. Next game, we got number 9 ranked Riverside, who went into Alamogordo, and they took them one.
Well,
they took them one at home.
I thought initially when we looked at the game, I don't know, maybe we looked at it a little different. I thought they were playing in Alamogordo, but they played down in Riverside. And
they locked the gates on them.
Yeah, they did, man. They did. And this is one where I thought it was Alamogordo, and I knew it was going to be a tough game because I called that. I said Alamogordo's always got it's a perennial playoff type team coming out of New Mexico for their division. And I expected that it was going to be a tough game, but at one point it was 28-0 Riverside. And then, of course, Alamogordo came storming back. But as you said, you got it right. Riverside held on. That's the one I missed.
They locked the gates on them. So next game, we got number 8, Eastlake, goes in, beats Coronado. 35-21. Eastlake improves to 4-0. Coronado drops to 1-3.
Not unexpected. I mean, we knew it would be a tougher game, and as everybody says, Coronado is improving. Yes, they are improving. They're not there yet, but they continue to be competitive. But at some point, when you got a young team like that, they're all fired up at the beginning of the season. You see a lot of positive signs, and then you get a tough loss to to your rival, and it turns around and costs you a loss in the next game too. And of course, in 6A, there ain't no rest for the weary. You load up again the following week, and so. But I certainly do expect them to find 1 or 2 more wins for the season.
And I was just about to say, I mean, with a young team like that, I mean, you have to figure out a way to get a win to keep that morale up. I mean, at some point. Otherwise, it just spirals. It just spirals and spirals and spirals. And I mean, they're 0-2 right now in district play. They're going to need to pick a win up somewhere to kind of try to turn things around.
Absolutely.
But kudos to Eastlake, now 4-0, 2-0 in the district play, and they're rocking and rolling.
Oh, yeah.
Next game. Battle of the Northeast.
A battle of 54. That's it. The battle of 54. We certainly have. Wow, what a ball game.
Oh, yes.
What was really surprising, I expected Parkland to come out a little more feisty, and they didn't, which is a surprise because at one point this game was 40-6. I mean, Chapin was actually taking them behind the woodshed a little bit.
Little furniture moving.
Yeah, a little furniture moving, old military, a little furniture moving in the back, and so it was tough. I mean, and so there's always reasons when things like that happen early on. I think back to Bel Air Parkland last year. Parkland jumped up quick with a bunch of turnovers on Bel Air last year, and everything just kind of spiraled away. And so you kind of. I was really surprised at seeing that. Davion Singleton was back, but not at quarterback.
They're able to put him at what I think is going to be his natural position, playing the wide receiver in the slot.
Right, in the slot. And Evan, the young quarterback for them, he was able to move the ball around. He got one to Brent Holman Jr. Obviously Davion got his touches, and Savion on the other side got his touch. The running back got his touches. So you can see kind of what Warner's building in that team. They've got solid skills and a solid running back and a solid quarterback, and usually that's the recipe for getting a lot of wins.
And Bobby Bowden said it back in the late '90s: speed kills.
Speed does kill. Speed does kill. No doubt about it.
Now, next up, Bel Air versus Clint. Bel Air comes out with a 44-37 victory. Way more fireworks than I was expecting. I thought that score was going to be somewhere in the 20s. I'm going to be honest with you. But some things happened in that game that kind of made this score go away that it did. I mean, Bel Air's got to do some work on the special teams, looks like.
Yeah, Clint was able to recover 4 onside kicks in this game, and it was, and some of it was just maybe nerves early on. The first couple were, surprising, but then after that you saw nerves kicking in, and you pooch kick the ball up, and you want the kids to kind of fair catch, put their hand up to fair catch, because even if you muff it and then fall on, it's called a muff, and you have an opportunity you're supposed to have by rule to recover a muff. And so even if you do that, and so the kids didn't do that, and the ball's automatically dead, and they didn't do that. And so I'm sure that special teams coordinator, Coach Estrada down there, he'll get those kids ready to go next week. They'll practice on probably that, I'm sure, quite a bit to make sure that part of the game is solid, because everybody's going to see that film.
Yeah. And
so certainly your first district opponent will. So that'll change the dynamic of how they kick off to Bel Air.
Definitely. I want to stay on this game just a minute. Let's talk about the young Davis. He finally got a chance to get some touches, stay in the game. I mean, he had himself a ball game.
Yeah, I mean, and you talk about I'll just talk about, the play that we saw there. Early on, it looked like they were really trying to focus and get him the ball, because for the early part of the season, they were really focused, as we said before on a different show, that they were trying to, not necessarily hide him, but spread it around, get the ball around, get other people involved. And really during the game, you saw a couple of times that Clint would go double coverage over McKeeby and then double over Chris. And you'd see them move that around a little bit. Okay. But ultimately, you can talk about some of the unofficial numbers, but they got the ball to him. And I mean, in every facet of the game, young fella showed up. I mean, I know on the defensive side, and he was everywhere. I mean, everywhere. And with a running team like that, the safeties, unfortunately, you're going to have to come up and tackle.
Yeah.
And there were multiple times that as that big running back from Clint, number 20, starts to break away from a tackle or a linebacker, here comes that young safety Davis coming up and, stopping the momentum. They didn't have any big, long runs. I mean, they had some 7s, 8s, 9s, stuff like that. But when you got a safety that's going to come up and tackle and that, really, really stop the momentum of a guy, then that makes a difference.
I mean, talking the tune of 6 receptions, 157 yards, 2 touchdowns, punt return for roughly 53 yards, kick return for about 78 yards. Total, unofficial now. These are unofficial. These is what the numbers we came up with: 302 all-purpose yards, plus 2 interceptions on the defensive side and 8 tackles. The dude was all over the place.
Yeah, to boot. And one thing that those who don't know, those who are watching, wow. What happens is when you've got a player, and don't worry about the name, but when you have a player that when they can return kicks and they can do all of these things and flip the field, what happens is it makes your offense much more potent. A coach saying, man, all I have to do is get 1 first down and I'm already in field goal range. Yeah. You're already in the scoring range. And so that's the kind of player that Bel Air's got down there. And no matter what happens the rest of this season, we're seeing kind of a repeat of what we saw last year.
Definitely. So, folks, we're going to take a quick break right quick, and we'll come back with our final 3 games.
Welcome to another season. No, we're not talking about an NFL season. We're talking about another season of taking it to the house. The American arrogance cannot find its way back in basketball.
He asked the nation. He asked anybody who would put a microphone in and anybody who will listen, do you believe?
All right, folks, we're back. Now, let's look at the next matchup, which was our game of the week. Canutillo versus Del Valle. And, I mean,
shocked.
It didn't live up to the expectations and the hype. It really didn't. Del Valle came out and just stomped a mud hole in Canutillo.
Yeah, absolutely walked in and said, we the big dog on the block. Because when you think about it, it's the teams that are projected to be the champions of their respective districts. And so champion versus champion kind of thing. And so Del Valle definitely won the fight on this one. Jake Fetty was Jake Fetty, man. He lit those guys up. He played really hard. Seeing some of the, different things we saw from him. I mean, he was Jake Fetty, and so he's pushing his name out there as this quarterbacks. All of these quarterbacks of 24 that are going to graduate. Well, you can see rolling into not the preview next year, but 24-25 season. That guy goes right to the top of the class.
Yeah, no, they definitely came in and, as we used to say back in the day, molly-whooped.
Yeah.
Molly-whopped.
Yeah.
So 42-20. So Del Valle improves to 3-1. Canutillo drops to 2-2. Definitely was not the outcome that I was expecting. I thought it was going to be more of a closer game, if anything.
I do too, and I wonder with a lot of these games and teams, we know grades just came out, and so coaches aren't going to necessarily put that out there. You end up seeing it when they show up, and you're going, wait a minute, that's not the guy we've been scouting for the last 2 weeks or what have you. Then you kind of know, is he injured? And if you don't see him on the sideline injured or in a jersey, well, then you know they didn't make it in the classroom. And so
and let me ask a question, kind of expounding on that for parents and whatnot who might not understand.
Right.
So what is the ruling on that as far as if a player's grades, or do they have a certain amount of time to get them back up, they can get back on the field?
They do, and with our schools being year-round and having the intersessions, if you will, schools that have an intersession, what happens is you got the 6-week grade check, mandatory UIL, and then you'll have 3 more weeks that you have to wait until you can regain eligibility.
Okay.
So you're talking, here are teams that are in week 4. The kids were able to play this week, but then next week they're ineligible to play. So they're going to miss game 5,
6 and 7.
game 6, game 7, and then they come back potentially for game 8, 9, and 10. Now, teams who have a intersession in their district, well, because officially school is not in, then kids are eligible during those intersessions. And so usually they get 1 more game that a kid can play during intercession.
Okay.
And then usually, like somebody like a Bel Air, they'll have 2 more games here, and then Then there are 3 games they're ahead on their bye, and so one of those during intercession. So one of the kids, like the Isleta game, potentially falls in intercession. So a kid would be eligible to play. And
That normally wouldn't be.
yeah, that normally wouldn't be.
Gotcha.
And that goes for everybody who has these year-round schools.
Gotcha. So that's really the whole city
Yeah.
at this point. For
For the most
everybody's
part.
year-round at this point.
Yeah.
Okay. Next game, we got number 3, Pebble Hills, taking on El Dorado. They are who we thought they were.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we said Pebble Hills was going to bounce back and bounce back in a big way. Coral's a running back. He was all over the field, man. He was just running up and down the field, chewing up yards, snapping necks and cashing checks, as the old school say. And of course, Gael was spectacular doing his part. We knew that was going to happen. My concern, my concern coming out of that game, one, Pebble Hills losing that game to Eastwood. Now you can't afford another loss. You got to just stay the course and make sure you end up in that 1-game loss in the district tie at the end, where there's going to be a whole lot of people flipping coins and all of that to see seeding. But one concern I've got, this is El Dorado, who now drops to
0-2 in the district, 0-4 on the season.
I'm really concerned. I mean, I was trying to check and see if if Ray actually played in the game, and you didn't see any of the highlights or anything like that had him out there. And so my concern is, is the injury really worse than people are putting on or what have you? Because for him he sat out and then played 1 game and now sitting out again, what is going on, with the potential injury? And so.
But what the good thing though is he's a sophomore.
Young.
So you want to caution on the side. You want to err on the side of caution.
Oh yeah.
Because he's got a long career ahead of him. So.
Long career ahead of him, no rush, just kind of already 0-4, and some of the teams you got in front of you, I'm not sure you're going to have the firepower to overcome that. So just do your part in keeping the kid healthy, getting him rehabbed healthy, all of that, and ready to play.
Yeah, definitely. Then our final game, Franklin versus Americas. And I mean, truly, man, you did get it right. You did get it right. Americas pulled out a 20-16 victory. But now one of the things we did say was Americas needed this game.
Oh, absolutely.
And they played like it.
It was the must-win game. And 1-6A, folks, that, it's a barn burner. It's a gauntlet every week. And so if you lose early, you can't really afford any more losses in a district like that. 2 losses can be tough. I remember last year when they were looking at seeding who's going to be the 3rd and 4th place team going to the playoffs, they were literally looking at who beat who and tiebreakers and 4-loss teams and all of that to see who was actually going to advance into the playoffs. And so, certainly as we looked at that game, I called it. I said Americas was going to have to do it. I think I said that 3 times now. 3 times? Yeah, I called it. All right. Americas showed up. The running back, young Cameron Johnson, over 200 yards rushing, had 17 all-purpose additional yards, so for about 217 all-purpose. He's making a name for himself. He's made the case, I'm the guy. Yeah. So the senior is Promise. He's the guy that's kind of taking a back seat. But the surprise in this game, LT Miranda, one of the top type kids from their program, skill kids, receiver, DB, got thrown out of the game.
Thrown out of the game. That's going to impact them for their next game because he's got to sit out a half.
Yeah, got to sit out a half. And so one thing, and young men, man, it's always tough to kind of hold your composure in a game. And not saying it was like that, but we understand, the officials officiated it as a head-to-head contact targeting kind of deal. So the kid is out what was left of that game, and then a half of the next game. Man, that may be a game changer for America.
That's big. That's big. You look at that 1-6A, man, and the top 4 teams, in my opinion, are And in no particular order, so don't nobody go there.
No, tell them the
particular
order. It's Eastwood.
You got
it's
Eastwood, Eastlake, Pebble Hills, Franklin, and then you got America sitting here at 5.
I may flip them. You know how I am. I mean,
I think
they beat the dog. They beat them, so they can.
They did, but
Yeah, I know. Because then you got Montwood beat America. See,
Montwood beat
you see how that
America,
goes now with that district.
and I mean you look at it, and so you got those 5 teams vying for 4 positions.
Yeah, and that's.
And you can't afford any early losses. And so, I mean, you still got to go to Eastlake. You still got to go to Eastwood. They still got to go to Franklin. Well, no, they still got to go to Pebble Hills.
Pebble Hills, yeah.
And so it's like, man, it's that I'm just salivating. I'm like, man, these next couple of weeks is going to be crazy.
Oh, yeah. They're going to be gradually sorting it out. And who's going to stay healthy? Because I got to see a couple of the games in 168 now and, live and in person. Man, everybody is going and bringing the wood. I mean, everybody is coming and hitting in those games. And so kids are going to come out of those games sore, doing the ice bath and all that. So it is going to be, interesting to see these next set of games that are coming up again next week.
I know. I mean, it never. And then doesn't district play start this week?
It's coming pretty quick for.
It's
next week coming for the other 5A schools.
And I mean, that's going to change everything again.
Change everything again. Not that we are producing our oversight here for this one, but we felt and we certainly want to mention you got Bowie and Jefferson going on right now. Jefferson was ahead at halftime, 7-6. Our hearts go out to Daniel's family. He is with the Lord now, and so we just pray for the Bowie community. And it's tough to play a game like that.
Definitely.
I mean, it really is. Not even just a week after that game, and but they're over at the Sun Bowl, and we look forward. We'll update y'all on that as the ticker will be scrolling at the bottom later on when you watch the full cast of the show.
But no, man, it's an exciting week of football. Week 4 is in the books, other than the game that's going on now. But I'm looking forward to next week, and so catch us on Thursday as we put out the. What do we call it now? What do we call it?
The
walkthrough.
Yep, the Wednesday walkthrough.
The Wednesday walkthrough.
The Wednesday walkthrough, and we call it that, y'all, because in football you do a little walkthrough before the game start and all of that. So it's the Wednesday walkthrough that we're going to put the predictions out there. I won last week. 8-1.
You won 8-1. It was only 8 games.
Sorry.
So last week, just so for Mr. Davis's enjoyment over here, so Kenny went 7-1. I went 4-4. So yes, he kicked my butt last week, but hey, that's why they play the games. We got another week of football coming up, and so good thing we didn't bet no money on this.
Oh yeah. I'd be eating that Sizzler. Nah, that's old school, y'all. Y'all don't know nothing about Sizzler.
Seriously, high school sports, no gambling.
No gambling.
So none of that stuff going on here, but no, definitely maybe a Coke or a Sprite or something.
Yeah.
But no, it's been another good week, another great episode. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Have a good one.